All right, so here is the final solution to how many gumballs are in the jar. I'm going to actually show you what I did to solve the problem, and then I will show you the actual answer. I did not actually get the real answer, but I got pretty close. And when you're doing things like this, usually you're playing a guessing game. It's some kind of competition. And honestly, if you can get close enough, you can win these. You don't have to get the exact answer, but I will show you how close I got and you can see if you beat me. That would be cool. So first thing I did was I converted everything to decimals. They're just easier for me to work with. So I converted that measurement, the height, to a decimal. I converted these diameters, and then I actually took their average. I knew that this diameter was going to be a little bit too large if I used that one. I figured that this diameter would be probably too small, so I found their average, and that's the diameter I decided to use. So first thing I did was I used those measurements to find the volume of the cylinder, and that's the number that I underlined right there. And then I also found the volume of the gumball. So first I had to find the diameter, and then I found the radius. And if you notice, I don't round hardly at all because I want to be as accurate as possible. In a guessing game, you can round at the very end, but I wouldn't round while you're doing your work because your answer might be way off unintentionally. So I found the diameter and the radius, and then I found the volume of the gumball, which is right here. And then once I knew the volume of the cylinder and the volume of the gumball, I divided them and I got this answer. Now, here's the thing, and I drew a little picture here. When you are dealing with volume, you're looking at cubes. So the volume of this cylinder is 42 and a little bit more cubes of air, basically. Now here's the issue. When you go to divide by the volume of the gumball, you're forgetting about the air. That was your hint in the last video. You're forgetting about all this air that surrounds these gumballs in those cubes. So this answer is actually a little bit off. You have to adjust for the air, and so I will show you how I did that. It's going to be, the real answer is going to be less than this. So if you did not do that, you can pause the video if you want and think about it, or you can keep watching, but this answer is going to be too much if all you did was divide the volume of the cylinder and the volume of each gumball. So here's what I did to figure out the air component. First, I drew a box, a cube, that had side lengths 1 inch. I just wanted to make the math easy, so I just pretended that we had 1 cubic inch of space we were looking at. And then I looked at the gumballs and I just pretended that the gumball filled up the cube. So we have a gumball with a diameter of 1 inch. That means that the radius is 1/2 inch. And then when you find its volume, interesting enough, it looks like the gumball fills up the cube. It really doesn't. It only fills up about 52.4% of that cube. So about 52.4% of the space inside of the cube is the gumball, meaning that about 47.6% is air. That's crazy. There's almost, like, half of this is almost air, and then the other half is the gumball. So here's what I ended up doing to get my final guess. I took the volume of the cylinder that I got originally. I divided by the volume of the gumball, and this was my first answer. So if I wasn't really thinking it through, that is the answer that I would guess. I would round this, of course, to 473. But I actually took that original answer and I only wanted to have about 52.4% of it because that was how much space inside was actually gumball and not air. So I found 52.4% of it and I got a final answer, rounding of course, of 248 gumballs. So that was my final answer. Think about what yours was. This is the actual answer. The actual answer was 254. So when I count for air, my answer is really close, but when I didn't, it was way off. 473 would not have won me this guessing competition.